welcome to another episode of Touchline Hotspur, part of Touchline Media Group. I'm Sai, and I'll be your host for today. And today we've got Tops. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, bro. It's also my birthday today, so yeah. Show me some love today,
Birthday.
guys, man.
Happy
that quiet.
birthday to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hear you mention that on the little pre-discussion there, so you kept
Yeah.
that quiet just so he said happy birthday on the recording.
Yeah.
I
Love
actually
that.
did
But
tell
happy
Si,
birthday,
but it's
bro.
cool.
Happy
Yeah,
birthday.
Safe.
Happy
We've also
birthday, mate.
got Owen with us today.
Welcome. And yeah, thank you
BBC
for the introduction.
references. Good Lord today, please. We've also got Toby with us today. How's it going, fella?
Yo. It's good to be here. Happy birthday, Tops.
Hey, bro.
Hopefully it's going to be a good episode.
And last but not least of our regular cast is Ohio.
What about you, man? What you saying?
Very good, bro. Very good.
Long
Just
time.
quickly, Tops. Which passport are we going off for the age for this year?
Bro, right now it's got to be the English because that Nigerian is expired, G. Yeah, man. Big 3-2 today, man.
So today we've got a special guest with us. Guest is a little bit of a funny way to describe it. I'd say opposition. We've got Dan Lawless today from West Ham Fan TV. How's it going, fella?
Yes, mate, all good. I'm here behind enemy lines today.
We've got security.
You're above the bottom half of the table today. That's what it is.
Yeah, West Ham done it just because they in preparation of me being on this podcast, so you guys couldn't banter me.
You're so lucky. You're so lucky you lot went on this run before this pod, because otherwise it would have been a massacre today. It still might be a massacre too.
Nah, because I tell you what, this is the thing, right? If we weren't on this run and we was doing poorly, I'd still be on there with my chest out because that's usually when we do well against you guys.
True.
So it almost makes me nervous that we are on a run, to be honest. But yeah, we'll get into more of that, I imagine.
Yeah, so I mean, we're coming into the next round of Premier League games, so week 5 of the Premier League, going into Spurs versus West Ham, coming off the international break. So obviously England have been involved. I think it's been 3 games over the break that they've played. Did anyone tune in to the internationals? I know I usually boycott and spend some time with my family instead of tuning into football, but has anyone else been keeping up to date? And
I've decided that I must have some kind of spiritual bondage with England because I saw 3 centre backs, 2 DMs, and I still watch. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I looked at the line and I was like, I'm not watching it. And then I was playing Football Manager whilst watching it. But I know, like, I didn't process for time because I was just getting so annoyed watching England. So, yeah, man. Oh, fuck that waistcoat guy, bro.
No, man. It's sticky.
hilarious that everyone calls him waistcoat. I think that's so funny.
No, man. It's sticky, man. It's just like, when did watching England become so uninspiring? Like, you know,
Come on,
we're actually lucky that right now we've got like a group of talented players. And still somehow this guy is managing to botch every ounce of hope and trust that people have in that England team. And it's not even worth watching, man. Like I can say personally, Wales, I went out for dinner. I was working and I was looking at it on my phone against Belgium and then the game against Denmark. I didn't even remember it was on. And then when I got home, I was like, rah, England lost. So for me, it was like a non-entity this week. Thinking about England, to be honest with you, I was just hoping that I wouldn't hear any information about any of our guys getting botched for the West Ham game. But
Be honest though. I want you to all be super honest. How many of you jumped on the bandwagon after the World Cup for Southgate? Because I can say hand on heart, I didn't. I was critical, but so many people were jumping on that Southgate bandwagon. There must be some of you that were like, yeah, like look, our boy Kane, he's got his MBE, he's got his OBE, and like all of this, and we're gonna do things. Youth generation.
I want to be so real here, yeah, because I used to catch so much flames in the group chat, like a different one over summer, yeah, because I was like, you man, listen, we struggled to beat Tunisia. everyone got happy that we popped Panama, which is just a holiday destination, I think, depending if your flight goes missing or not. And then what?
Wow.
Colombia, we waited for pens. And then we played half decent against Sweden, like at best. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to lie, you know the whole it's coming home thing? The only time I said it's coming home seriously was when Trippier bopped it free top bins. At that moment, I was like, oh, you know what? Yeah, maybe in it. But then
I believe.
I believe. But then Mandzukic just made everyone remember Wagwan. And then I took another step back. I was like, no, I've been right this whole time that we've actually been asked. Like Henderson playing on a lone island by himself in midfield, like Lingard looking half decent. I was like, this is all a farce. And I was catching. I was like, Harry Kane's got the worst World Cup golden boot in history. That's my guy. That's our guy. The worst golden
It was
boot.
nasty, very, very nasty.
Disgusting. And I got caned for it in the group chat, no pun intended. And then recently, I love a receipt on WhatsApp in it. I'll search bare keywords like Kane and waistcoat and Southgate. I'm like, you man, I told you. Like, man, I told you.
You know what is with him? I agree that the World Cup run was favourable. And me personally, I'm not even like an avid England supporter. Like my first team to support is Nigeria. Like I only enjoy watching England because of the affinity with Spurs players, and because I actually like a lot of the English players that are coming through now, and the English players in the past. But I can't actually say like I feel a type of way when England win or lose. Like I'm indifferent to it all. But Southgate, whether you say, yeah, lucky run, this is that and the other, they got to the semi-finals. So for whatever reason, they got to the semi-finals in the World Cup. You can't just dismiss that. So for me, that gave him some time to actually build on that. Because I know they played like Spain a couple months back, and it was a really impressive performance in the first half, certainly. Like they were 3-0 up, coast, and obviously Spain came back into it. So you saw signs that maybe, just maybe, he could get this England team playing in absence of him being the best sort of tactically astute coach or whatnot. But what I've seen over the past year certainly has been horrific. And I think that grace period he had because of the World Cup performance is completely gone now. Like there's no excuse for the way England play now with the plethora of talent they got. Like they've got so many ballers in the team now. Like that's not something that you say. Ballers and English players, it's not something that you say regularly. Like it normally is an oxymoron, but it's not an oxymoron anymore because you actually have ballers in the team, and yet it actually looks every time you watch England like you're watching a Sunday League team. It's horrible, absolutely horrible. And for that reason, he has to go. He was never a good manager in the first place, but he earned that grace period because of the performance. And what we're seeing now is just not good enough.
It's a weird one for me to go back to the question of who got excited. It was less Southgate himself and more so to do with the sort of philosophy that they were trying to usher in. I think just before he got hired, they had released a brochure to like every level of football, so through grassroots upwards, and they basically spoke about what the sort of mind state was going to be, getting kids into the England squad moving forward. And by and large, they have achieved it. I think everyone sort of knows that they're trying to play a bit more of a tactical game, a bit more of a continental style. Is very much about slower build up, building from the back, all of those things. So there were a lot of components of it that in the World Cup run, especially, and at points still, since this run has gotten a little bit stale, where I've sat back and I've said, oh, actually, like there is something to build on here. The only problem with it is we're not really setting the world alight. The attacking players don't really look like they're free. The defensive performances have been a bit lackluster. I think Maguire is an absolute embarrassment. But yeah, by and large, initial signs were positive, but yeah, it's fallen off a bit of a cliff now. For you guys, I think Dan in particular, as a West Ham fan, England is your second team. So
Where did that come from?
They claim it. They love to claim it.
Only because we won the World Cup. That's the only reason. That's the only reason.
Whatever the reason is, that's your team. You got to ride or die for them. Where do you see the improvement coming from? Is it as simple as the manager, or is there some hope? that he can rectify it?
It's funny though, as much as you say that, like I really don't watch England unless it's like World Cup or Euros. Like, so I mean, literally, I follow Declan Rice, and that's it. And really, the criticism that he gets when he plays for England is just so ridiculous, and it's so obvious that there's so many of these casual fans that don't really watch football on a regular basis that sit there and will just slate him because he don't play for one of the top 4 clubs. So that's really what I look at, to be honest. Yeah, I'm always club over country. I'm not really into international football unless it's a tournament. So when it comes to them games, like it's literally the only reason I even look at it is because Declan Rice is playing. So yeah, you've not got the biggest England fan on this when it comes to West Ham, but obviously I will claim that World Cup all day long.
Hey, Dan, I'm not gonna lie, yeah. Dan, I don't know how tight you are with Declan Rice, but he needs to relinquish that number 7 ASAP. I've had enough. It's pissing me off.
Why is he even number 7 for England? Like, number 7 is a winger's number. Like, why is a CDM having a number 7 top? It doesn't make sense to me.
Wasn't he 16 or 14 before that for England? Wasn't he? Didn't he? I swear he had.
He's had a few games in a number 4. He's had a few games on 4. 4, I can handle him at 4. It's a Gerrard thing, but I can handle a CDM wearing 4.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't understand what they're doing with the whole numbers thing. But whatever number he plays, like he is an important player to have. Like, look, did you see the interview after the game with something about Maguire and that? And they asked him about Maguire, and his answer is such like a captain's way of dealing with it. Of okay, so this player's like playing pretty terribly right now, but you're trying to put some positive energy out there to try and lift them up a little bit. Like he is a leader, and he can be a future England captain. Like, I'm sorry, but I know you've got Harry Kane at the moment, but he's not captain material for me.
Kane is Kane isn't a vocal leader, but he's definitely captain material. He leads by example. Yeah, he don't need to be screaming bangers and mash and whatever like flipping Declan Rice, East End Declan Rice. Yeah,
example of not squaring it to Sterling. Yeah, is that the example?
Wow, people still going about
that's the striker. That's because striker's prerogative. A striker in front of goal.
Nah, you can't say lead by example when he's selfish. You can't be selfish.
Harry Kane is one of the least selfish players. He's only selfish when he has the opportunity to win the game. Simple.
No, but
do we really want someone who chose Ireland first to be captain? I don't know. No. Listen. It's what was there. Like, he got talked into it by his agent and that. You know, he's a young player. Now, obviously, England came and courted him. They said, we need this guy in our side. They came and got him. And let's be real, a captain, you want a vocal captain. You want to, when the players aren't there, to sit there and go, come on, guys, pick up. Like, let's do it. Like, right, we're losing, but we need to keep going, keep pushing. You need someone who's vocal. Rather than, what does that mean? Like, playing by example? What? He just, like...
As in, like,
training. That's what it means. He's a bad boy.
But when you...
He's the Don Dada.
But when he's not performing, though, I mean, like, look, I think it was Ahaya said, like, he was literally, like, the worst Golden Boot winner ever, right? And that's in the tournament, right? So if he's not at his peak, so it's literally like we're rudderless. Is that what you're saying? Like, he has to be on it.
Can I just touch back on a point? I know Harry Kane didn't play well at that World Cup, but I kind of resent that whole that the worst Golden Boot winner ever, because let's not forget, he scored 7 goals at a World Cup. Yeah. Yes, we played cannon fodder, but he won England that game against Tunisia. Against Colombia, he didn't even score a goal. And he was the most influential England player on the pitch, because his ability to drop deep, to create, that's him. That's just what he is. That's not what a selfish player would do as well. So I just want us to sort of slow down on the Harry Kane.
Some of them were penalties though as well.
Yeah,
some of them were
but you got to score them though. You got to score them though.
Like, I'm not saying, I agree, he didn't play well generally, but I don't know about the worst Golden Boot winner ever when you're scoring 7 goals.
He didn't deserve a knighthood. He didn't deserve no knighthood. Let's be real. Let's talk facts.
I don't make the decisions. I don't make the rules, G.
So that does bring up an interesting topic. So I'm not sure if you follow us on the timeline. Basically, we ran a poll to have a look at who the most overrated Spurs player was. And we had some shocking answers. I mean, I don't even want to say it. Someone said the man who bears the crown was overrated. We don't play that around here. So no Ledley King slander will ever be tolerated. But that gives me the sort of ball and gives it in your court. Who would you say is the most overrated West Ham player of all time? Because it sounds like you're trying to allude to Harry Kane being overrated, and yeah, let's see where your head is at.
I wouldn't pick him as your most overrated player. I'd pick Dele Alli. But yeah, I'm not sure I understand.
Yeah, I'm not.
That was timely.
The
boy.
timing.
Even Thierry doesn't get it, mate.
The timing of it. That's hard, you know. What currently or of all time?
All time
Most overrated player.
Maybe do like last 10 years to make it like easier, so to narrow it down. Last 10 years.
Yeah. That's a hard one because who do fans overrate? Because
Payet?
I would not say. This is the thing. I would not say Payet because I think
Nah.
As
He
much
came
as
up trumps,
Payet was
man.
bad. Payet was a bad boy.
I would
He came up
love
trumps,
to
man.
Cresswell.
I would Creswell. I mean, no, he's like right now. People don't rate him. It's hard to say really like overrated if our player because we've always been like as a fan base, we're really critical. Like it's only certain players that.
I know who it is. It's Mark Noble.
No,
Actually, it is.
Yes,
he is.
It is.
No.
And I don't hate Mark Noble either, but it is.
I know you guys.
I used to see so many Mark Noble for England shouts on the TL, and I don't even follow really any West Ham fans.
That season,
I follow like one.
No, he deserved it that season. That 15-16 season, he was on some serious form, and they had some real just dead players in that England side playing in midfield at the time. And especially over time, like that is the time to put him there. Like I think he's underrated from not so much West Ham fans, but in a football sense, because I'm not saying he's a top baller, but people don't see what he does and what he can bring to the table for Mark Noble. Like he's not someone that teams are going to be flying for, but he's a good player to have in. Obviously he's getting older now, like this season not so much, but if you had him in the past, it's a good player to get in there to have. Maybe, I mean, Scott Parker, maybe we overrate Scott Parker a bit because he was my favorite player at the time, but he's almost got this as much, obviously, even though he went to you guys, but he's got this like legendary status at the club. Like now, when maybe people we sort of look back a little bit more fondly at his time that he did more than he did, even though we went down that season. So maybe we look back a bit too fondly on Parker, but not to say that he wasn't good, but maybe we just put him in a tier above what he actually was. So if I had to pick off the top of my head, I would say him. It's hard to say. It's hard to choose your players and say they're overrated. It's hard. It hurts, man.
To be fair, Scott Parker's high up the list in terms of players that I think our fan base overrated. I think we were actually better when we had other guys in the team. I think a lot of people forget that the year before Scott Parker joined, we had Huddleston and Modric in the midfield, and we put on some of our best performances. So by the time Scott Parker came in, I felt like we were on a bit of a decline anyway. Like we didn't finish as high on the table. We weren't as dynamic, and realistically, his game seemed to be quite restricted once he got to us. For you guys, he seemed to be a bit more involved in goals. From top to bottom, he was a bit more box to box, whereas for us, he was literally there to break up play, and that was it.
But I think with that, I think that was by instruction, because Scott Parker, I think one thing which a lot of people have never really sort of like rated about him is his ability to sort of like strike a ball, carry a ball and whatnot, because like Scott Parker at Charlton was an absolute baller. Chelsea, he didn't really get playing time. And then I think he obviously went Newcastle and whatnot, but at West Ham, that season he had at West Ham, he was amazing. He was actually he was really, really good. And at Spurs, I don't know about you, but I was happy when we signed him. And I think under him, that duo of him and Modric in midfield, that season, we played some of the best football we've ever played under Harry Redknapp. I know, of course, we bottled it with a finishing fourth instead of finishing third, but I think he gave our midfield a lot of balance. And fundamentally playing the two in midfield, I think his profile player combined with the energetic Modric, I felt it was perfect. But I do think Mark Noble is overrated, though. I think he should have gone to the Euros, but I do think he's overrated by your fan base. Your fan base talk about him like he's the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, because
there's so many
English
English midfielders
someone like that.
Better than him.
Like someone, I know you had Kane came through, but he was an Arsenal fan. Like you don't have someone who was a West that like Spurs through and through. Like he grew up in East London. He's a Canning Town boy. Yeah, grew up in the academy. He's been at our club for so long. It's like someone who bleeds claret and blue. To have someone, it means a lot to have like someone. And think about how many managers have picked him. We've had like about 7 or 8 different managers in Noble's time. They've all picked Mark Noble. So that's got to say something.
What other choice did they have though?
Listen, think about it.
But you know what? I hate him because he scored his first ever Premier League goal against us. I remember that game as well. You wankers, you lost that game too. So I'm happy you lost that. He thought he was going to have his special day scoring against us. Well, the joke's on him.
Yeah, but that started many good Mark Noble performances against Spurs. That was like the start. So for you guys, like this is the thing, you've seen him at his best. So I don't know how you guys can sit here and say about his own, like from if you're just watching West Ham when they play you, like to you guys, like Noble's a top baller. Like I'm surprised you ain't tried to sign him because he turns up against Spurs. Like really,
really? Where was
basically the shit Harry Winks, no tech. Like
some of the goals he's scored, like I think I'm gonna try and get some clips where you could see some goals you'd be thinking, geez, like is this Messi? Like is this Messi scoring up?
What?
I've been thinking it's Kane. Penalties.
No, he is, and as well, he is the penalty expert. Really, he's probably the best, or one of the best penalty takers. He's there, like honestly, Bruno Fernandes could learn something from Mark Noble. I'll tell you that.
On the topic of overrated players, this had just sprung to mind, so I'm going to go a little bit left field. Jack Wilshere getting released from your club.
Nah, like you had to go. Yeah, man, that was it was a weird decision though because like we've paid him off. And now we're sort of light in midfield. Like, not to say that we were relying on Jack Wilshere because, again, he ain't been fit. But apparently he's been fit for like 8 months and Moyes just hasn't played him, hasn't given him a chance.
But how old is he? Like, I think I read somewhere he's only like 28 or something, no?
Yeah, he's 28.
That's mental. That's
there's a report saying Arsenal might take him back.
No, I don't.
Crazy.
Why are you not always light in midfield? There's so many certain things in life with West Ham. You're always light in midfield. Last season it was, Mark Noble can't play 38 games. The season before, we need creativity. You're always light in midfield. Why is that?
I literally, I wish I knew the answer because literally, like, we now have 2 great players in that holding midfield in Souček and Rice. But
it's true.
The fear is if they get injured, we are banging trouble if they get injured because when one of them don't play, like we fall to pieces. Like they are our engines, and now it's literally them 2 and Mark Noble. Mark Noble just doesn't seem to fit into this side the way they're playing now. So it's like we've sold Josh Cullen, who looked to be a really young, promising academy player, for 800 grand, and we've let Wilshere go. So and we don't seem to bring any cover in.
Is that scrub Carlos Sanchez still there?
No, we released him. Like he was like the first, like literally as soon as the season ended.
Jesus, he was a shocking signing to begin with as well.
He was on like 80 grand.
Crazy grand.
This is the sort of signings that we make. It's like when we signed Patrice Evra for like 100 grand. 36-year-old Patrice Evra.
Done. Absolutely finito. Dead.
And Moyes decided to bring him in against Liverpool, against like Mane and Salah, and he just got ripped to pieces. He had Zabaleta, he had like 34-year-old Zabaleta on one side and 36-year-old Patrice Evra on the other side.
I remember
and they beat
that
us,
game.
like they smashed us. Like, oh my God. That was like, see what these are the things we have to deal with, honestly.
It's so fun watching West Ham crumble. It's honestly brilliant. It's brilliant to watch.
It's like my favorite like Saturday morning cartoon. It's like seeing West Ham just, like, fall into pieces by the middle of the season.
Yeah, but then how much worse does it make it when we come and turn you guys over? Like, how much worse does that make it look for you guys?
You know what? Honestly, it's like,
I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know how many of you guys have like an older brother or whatever, but me, I'm the eldest brother, and all through growing up, like me and my brother would play sports, and I never went easy on him. So that one time he scored against me, whether it's in football or basketball, you're just unbearable. But then you realize, all right, yeah, I'll just let him have one, and then back him up. That's how I feel about it.
Nah. What, just let him have. Come on, like what? Like there's so many times. Literally, we pretty much ended your title challenge like twice.
No,
like,
you didn't. Stop saying this.
You guys hate it when I say that, but come on.
That 16-17 season, the title was done. I'm not gonna lie, I was furious after that game. But the title was done. The title was done. Come on.
What about 15-16?
You didn't end up. Actually, you know what? You actually did. Antonio, the 1-0.
Yeah,
that was. Yeah. You know what? I don't think you ended our title challenge, but that
was the start of the decline.
That hurt. Yeah, that one hurt.
It was the start of the decline. Yeah, and then like obviously Antonio, when he like danced all over your brand new stadium, first team there.
That was nasty. Very
that
nasty.
Celebration.
That one pissed me off. I'll give you that one.
We've won more. We've won more matches. I swear we've got a better home record. I can't remember that crazy stat, something like that. We've got a better home record than you have at your ground. Has that changed now? Because I know you got a couple more wins last season, but
what you've got a better? What do you mean a home record?
So apparently we had won. I think we had won more games at your ground than you had in general. I think there was a point where that was the stadium. It might.
I
think it's changed. It's obviously changed now because I think you won a couple matches last season towards.
Yeah.
It was definitely a thing. I remember seeing that around.
I'm gonna look into that. But to be honest, like we know the problem with the stadium is the problem with the stadium. Like we know it's not being like much of a fortress for us because of the issues that are there, and like how you guys have done things is completely different to how we've done things. Obviously, you went out and had a purpose-built stadium, allegedly like petrol bombed some businesses down so you can get that stadium built. I'm just gonna put that out there. There were some fires, we got it through the
It was very sus from leaving.
The timing, you know what I mean? So that's what you guys did. We went through the government, so it's swings and roundabouts. But you got a nice stadium out of it, and we've got an athletic stadium. So.
Speaking of stadiums, the Let Fans In campaign is a hot topic at the minute. Obviously, there's a petition going around, over 130,000 signatures or something like that, of people hoping that fans can get back into stadium. I mean, to be perfectly honest, me on a personal note, before I delegate to you guys, I've been quite happy that there's been no fans, there's less pressure, and obviously West Ham haven't really noticed anyway because it's quiet as a library in that bit.
the cheek, the pot calling the kettle black. Wow.
So how do you guys feel about that? Do you feel like fans should be let back in, or do you think the precautions that are being taken are sensible given the times that we're still in?
Like, given someone who works in healthcare, I think we should probably just take the precautions. Whilst the incidence is like way more increased than it's been in the previous months, I feel like having football at the moment is a luxury in itself, considering like today's information with regards to the increase of the tiered lockdown. But I feel like if we don't lose football, that's kind of a positive. So if it comes at the expense currently of having fans not there, then, I quite happily have that. But, ideally in a perfect world, we would want us to be there. We want fans to be there. But I also think it'd be kind of interesting as well, because a lot of the players, like we've spoken recently, maybe seem to react or play differently with no fans. So you would think maybe because they're kind of used to it based off the back of end of last season, that they would kind of be happy to continue playing like they're where they are, and maybe it would affect their performance positively or negatively if there were to be fans. But again, we can't really say,
I think for me personally, it's a tough one because, like you said, you know, I don't work in healthcare, but you know, I'm studying a healthcare course, and my mum's a GP and stuff, and you want to keep everyone as safe as possible. But then, you know, so I think rugby, I think they've started letting fans in about a very, very social distance level. Like you can see, it's very clear between fans. I think with football, you know, it can be a little bit more tribal. So it's a bit different. I think if you were to do that, I think something that would have to be enforced in some way, shape, or form. I think the exit is actually more important than actually people being in there. Because if you do 50%, 20% capacity, whatever, everyone leaving at the same time completely defies the point. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think, again, I'm not the stadium operations manager. I don't know how practical this would be or whatever. People have to get home at certain times and stuff. But to me, it was just that you would just have to let certain sections, because, you know, some people want to leave at like 80 minutes, 85, whatever. It's either a case of, you know, people are allowed to leave at designated times in like certain areas. So there's like less human traffic outside. And obviously you've got like the trains and stuff. Or, you know, it gets to 90 minutes and then it's like, right, now you lot can leave, give it 20 minutes, now you lot can leave. I think it's not going to be a perfect scenario either way. But yeah, fuck knows, to be honest.
Did you sign a petition?
I did not sign the petition, no. I didn't, because I don't know where I'm at with it, so I don't want to commit to a yes if I'm not 100%.
See, I don't know about you guys, but we had actually an option when we renewed our season ticket. It gave us different options, right? And we could renew, and then when fans started to be allowed back in, we can go. Or like I took option 3, which was you pay a little bit of money and then you don't go back in until capacity is over 70%, right? Because to me, personally, I don't want to go if it's just like smatterings of fans here and there, because like the atmosphere is going to be dead anyway. And like Ohio was saying as well, like the whole, it's more so like in the ground, like it's cool, like it's not a risk. You can space people out. It's just the getting there, the going there and the coming out. And I don't know if you guys have been to our ground, but it becomes like everything just gets funneled as even the transport, like London Underground as well. I mean, even your place, like your transport links are like worse than ours. Like you look at Seven Sisters and White Hart Lane Station, like it's imagine that, just that much people. I don't think you can do the travel safely. I know you're saying if you hold some people and then have stagger people leaving, but it's hard to really stagger people attending unless you like go, all right, you give an appointment, you got to get here 45 minutes before, you got to get here 30 minutes before. It's just hard to police. So yeah, at the moment, like if you're telling people, oh, you can't stay in pubs at this time, or you can't go around people's houses, or you can't do this, it don't make sense to do the football side of things. So they might as well just wait.
It's just difficult. I think it will cause them it's going to be way more stuff to sort of manage and handle, letting certain fans in rather than just letting no fans in and waiting and trying to get to the bottom of this whole coronavirus situation and then letting fans in at full capacity. I'm with you, Dan, as well. Me personally, I'd rather be there when it's 60,000 strong than be there when it's like 8 or 10,000 in the stadium. That's dead. That's dead. Imagine if I'm like the only one within like maybe a couple seats and I want to chant and no one else is chanting. That's dead, man. Like it's just soulless for me. So I think I'd rather have it with proper atmosphere than like a botched sort of semi-atmosphere just for the sake of getting in. It's not that deep.
So have you been to a home game, like a round 1 Carabao Cup game against like Stevenage or something at home, and it's like there's hardly anyone there, and the people that are there are like, it's like their first game there because they can't get into league games. No one's singing. You feel like an alien if you do sing.
Correction, when we don't know how that feels because we're never usually in round 1 for the Carabao Cup.
Oh, at round 1, round 2. You know what I mean? And you know, I don't think we are either. I don't know if we are actually, but you know what I mean.
Okay,
Six man over here.
Listen, you lot pipe in your songs. I remember seeing that video. Did you guys remember seeing that video where they was playing it through the speakers?
We were preparing the mandem for the pandemic because that's what they got right
now. you guys were the trailblazers on that. It was ahead of the time.
To be fair, so this is actually going to be the second time we play you guys under these circumstances. We played you guys back in June. We won 2-0, so no surprises there. So leading into the weekend's game, Spurs West Ham. It's a derby, not a big one. Just our little brothers, Wanderers, all of them, man. How do we see it going? Obviously, we've sort of had some good news in the way of Gareth Bale's started to train. Harry Kane hasn't picked up any international duty injuries, so it's looking like we're going to go into this game fresh and ready. So, Owen, how do you feel we're going to line up?
With the lineup itself, I'm not sure whether Bale would start or not. I mean, given how pessimistic I have been about Bale, despite that, I would probably start him anyway. Purely because, like, if West Ham set up the same way they did against Leicester, I know West Ham ended up winning that with quite a big margin. I believe it was 4-0 in the end. I felt like there was a fairly high line from West Ham where they ended up not really putting that much pressure on it. There was always spaces in those channels. And I feel like if West Ham, again, if they set up the same way like they did against Leicester, I would try and get Kane to just drop in deep in those little pockets and just have Son and Bale running behind. It could get sticky if they set up with, in a similar way to how they did in June, and Mikel Antonio is on his game though, because he could be a problem for our centre-backs.
He will be a problem for our centre-backs, not could be. He will be a problem for our centre-backs, 100%.
I don't want to show my hand too much, you know. He's looking very dangerous right now, to be honest. And yeah, he's genuinely scaring me.
To be fair, West Ham have a couple of players in good form. Jared Bowen has been slapping in the goals as well. So Dan, how have you been feeling about your boys? Obviously, you got off to a rocky start, but two wins on the bounce, 7 goals.
Yeah, I mean, since we changed to this 5 at the back system, it's completely just changed the game. Like, because even the Arsenal game, like, we should have won that game. We deserved to win that game. It was very unfortunate not even to get a single point out of it. But that was like the turning point. So this, to me, has really changed it. And this thing is like a player like Masuaku, a lot of us have been saying for ages, like, because at left back, defensively, he was a bit of a liability, and we're saying he's more of a winger or a left wing back, and now he's just shining attacking wise. And Creswell's playing as like, you know, 3 centre backs. And the interesting thing is, obviously, Owen was talking about them finding spaces. That was more so like later on in the game, as fatigue sets in, they was finding a bit more space, but we kept Vardy quiet for most of that game because Vardy is that player who likes to get in behind. And where we have those players, where we had that back 5, who was able to keep him quiet and to cut that out. And that transition from attack and defense was quite smooth. So that's why I'm feeling a little bit more confident going against you guys, because I know that you guys do like to do that. And like a team like Wolves, they was playing like, I think, was it Wolves that you guys dominated before? Was it Wolves? And they kept playing the high line, and you guys, no, what was it? Southampton.
That was
Southampton. Yeah. That was it, Southampton. Jeez, yeah, I said on another thing, Spurs thing, Wolves. Yeah, Southampton, yeah. And they were just making the same mistake over and over again. Whereas us now, I feel like with this back 5, we're better suited to deal with that. Obviously, the big problem is going to be like the link-up play between like Harry Kane and Son and things like that. And I think that's where you get us. But if you try and just simply try and get in behind, I'm confident that we can shut that down, and then that be able to counter attack well with these players. Obviously, Fornals and who's a really hard worker, Bowen, and then obviously getting up to Antonio. I just seen Antonio. He was on that Akim Fenwa's podcast, and he was saying the big change for him is where Moyes has said to him, wherever you are, make sure you're in line with the ball. If you're in line with the ball, like, you're in a much better place for you to receive it. And he said since then it's just changed his game. So he's like, I think he's the most informed player since the lockdown ended, since we came out of lockdown. So
doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Most goals scored, top goal scorer, yeah, since the end of the lockdown. So yeah, I mean, he's like Moyes, you've got to give Moyes some credit. He's done a similar thing with Arnautovic and taking these players that are traditionally wingers and making good strikers out of them. So yeah, the big thing is it's that test of that back 5 against your guys. I'd be I'd be surprised to see. I think that'd be a big call if he started Bale after not playing football for so long. That would be a big call for him. I mean, you guys know more than me if he's capable, but it'd be interesting. I could see him twitching maybe to put him in, but it's going to be a big test for the back five. So we're going to see what happens.
Is Moisey back in the dugout for this one?
Yeah, sadly he's back.
Brilliant for us. Brilliant.
Oh, wait. Excellent.
When he's not there, you win. So boy.
He's not working from home anymore, except the Everton game, right? Because the Everton game, his stream cut out or something, so he didn't get to see the rest of the game. Like, it's ridiculous. That was where we didn't make a single sub in the whole 90 minutes, and we found out like he didn't see the rest of the full game because usually he'll be on the phone to like Stuart Pearce. So I'm thinking, is he watching a dodgy stream or what? Is he on like one of them dodgy streaming sites watching the game because he don't want to pay the £10 to the Carabao website or whatever? But yeah, so that is a big frustration with him as well as his game management, because if it gets to the point where we need to change it up and say we're trailing behind and we need something different, he takes way too long to make a change. We've got some good players on the bench like Yarmolenko and Sebastian Haller, and well, not Anderson anymore. He's on loan. He's gone on loan. But we could have Ben Rama on the bench, right? And knowing that you've got that option, but if he's waiting till like the 85th minute, it's pointless. It's not going to do anything. Whereas, sometimes you need to switch that up earlier, which is the frustration.
I was going to ask as well, Dan, because Ben Rama, obviously, apparently he's undergoing his medical as we speak, or he's undergoing his medical. So there is a high sort of chance that he will be signed and ready in time to be registered for the match. But what I wanted to ask is, do you think David Moyes will be tempted at all to sort of deviate from that system? Because obviously the five at the back has worked for you lot really well. I agree with you. I think against Leicester, you shut them out completely. I think they only came into the game once the game was pretty much put to bed. But do you think he's going to be tempted to change up that system? Because really and truly, you can't be spending 30 million on Ben Rama and for him not to start. But at the same time, with the way Fornals has started this season, with the way Jared Bowen's playing as well, them two working in tandem with Antonio up top, how's it gonna work? Is he gonna stick with a five? Is he gonna take one of the defenders out and swap for Ben Rama just to play all of the attackers? What do you think he's gonna do?
I'd be very shocked if he changed it. Very shocked, because obviously he's a manager that don't really like to change things up, which is a lot of things that people sort of get on to him about. So again, like for now, he was like personally my man of the match in that last game. Like just the work rate, he's starting to create more, and just that touch and that finish for the goal like was just unreal. So yeah, really, it's been a working combination. The thing with Ben Rama, there's question marks over, is this a Moyes player or has Sullivan forced it onto him? Because there's reports that he wanted Josh King and Sullivan wanted Ben Rama. So the problem is that, because you look at he wouldn't give Anderson a chance to come back in, even when he was performing well in the cup games and things like that. And now he's just loaned out Anderson, and we've got a similar type of flair player. I don't see how. This is the big worry for Ben Rama for me, is where does he fit into a Moyes style? If Moyes isn't giving these other players a chance, how is he going to give Ben Rama a chance? And he's liking players that have that work rate. So
that's what
I'd be so surprised, and that's why I'm not jumping for joy completely on the Ben Rama signing, because there's a lot of worries I have about the signing. So yeah, I expect the same lineup really.
Yeah, I mean, for me, on a personal note, like seeing Antonio running at Sanchez does give me a few heart palpitations, just because whenever Sanchez is put in a situation where he has someone physical with him, gets sucked into those battles. So he spends more time trying to jostle than he does actually trying to focus on defensive positioning. So it's safe to say Antonio is probably your biggest threat in terms of what we would consider. I do think there's a high chance that Bell plays 70 minutes. Bell's the type of player who can pick the ball up and make something happen. And if you guys are going to opt for a five at the back, there's going to be a lot of space in front of that back line for us to try and make something happen. And when you get those teams trying to frustrate you, the best thing to do is to try to slap it top bins and you guys know oh too well what Bale can do from top bin. So,
Yep.
how vividly do you remember that goal? Because I think we can do a play-by-play.
Can we do a play-by-play of the Ravel Morrison goal instead?
No.
I was at that game. Oh, disgrace.
Dawson.
I remember that season was nasty as hell. I think we lost 5-0 in aggregate to you that year. We lost 2-0 at Upton Park and then 3-0 at, oh God. Both those, I went to both those games, and both those games horrible, absolutely horrible.
Sam masterclass. That is fine.
Sam Allardyce, yeah?
Corrupt man.
It was Sam Allardyce in that game. I tell you what, when he scored that, that was honestly one of the best goals I've ever seen. Like, he took the piss, like, massively.
It was
beautiful.
It was the cherry on the icing.
Show it.
Because he was amazing that game as well. He was really good. Because it beggars belief that like he's where he's at now. Because I actually thought he could have a future at West Ham after that start to the season he had as well. But he just sort of tailed off. But
he's just his mindset. He was a bit crazy because I think that was that season where he was like beating up his girlfriend and all sorts of stuff like that. And
that was, you know what's crazy as well. That's that same at the end of that season. Me and my mates, we went to Cancun and he was there. He was in Cancun as well, and we kept bumping into him because we were like the only sort of like British black guys there at the time as well. So we knew who he was. So we said hello to him. And ever since we said that, like every single time we went out, he'd be like, yeah, guys, yeah, it's Ravel Morrison. I'm like, yeah, we know who you are, bro. Like,
what did he say that?
I think he's
following him because that's where the girls were at.
I think it's because no one else knew who he was out there. So obviously, like to us, like we knew who he was, but no one else knew who he was. But he seemed pretty chill out there.
Why has he got to keep saying, yeah, Ravel Morrison here?
No. He didn't keep saying it, but like he kept persisting and sort of like coming up to us and like, yo guys, this, that, and I'm like, bro, we get it. Like, you don't have to like spud us every time you see us. So it's calm.
You were just still salty about the goal. That's what it was, isn't it? You guys are probably thinking, do you think we could just like 2-foot him like right around the dance floor?
You know what? Back on the game as well. So Sai, you actually made a really good point there about Gareth Bale starting, and I think that's the beauty of having Son, Kane, and Gareth Bale as your attack, because when all else fails, they can pull the trigger from distance. I think Harry Kane's got in the last since his time in the Premier League, he's like top 5 goals from outside the box in the league or something like that. So he can pull the trigger from distance. Son, they know all too well from that 1-1 draw at Wembley, he can pull the trigger from distance as well. And Gareth Bale, left foot, he can pull the trigger from distance. So if they try that bullshit where they're sitting back and putting 5 at the back and throwing literally everyone like couple banks of whatever you want to call it, if they put all their players behind the ball, we have players that can unlock that defense. That's why for me, I'm so confident we're going to beat them on Sunday. We've played up against a deep block this season in Newcastle and we ripped them to shreds. Yeah, you can say they didn't play well, but we ripped them to shreds. I really think there's a new sort of aggression with our team now, and with the sprinkle of quality that we've added, even with Antonio's threat, I think we're going to win on Sunday, 100%.
Wait, who are you dropping from the team that beat Man United 6-1 or 6-2 or whatever it was?
Lamella probably, bro.
Lamella and maybe Sissoko. Maybe.
I'm not going to lie. I'm starting Lamella, you know. I'm saying put Bale on ice for a second. I'm starting Lamella. I'm not a Lamella fan, but I appreciate what man does. Do you know what I mean? You know when people try and say, "Oh, like you need to watch them." You don't even need to watch Lamella too tough. Like he comes on this lucha libre thing and he just harasses. He's just a harasser. He doesn't understand the meaning of consent when you've got the ball. He's just there. Like obviously he probably does with the actual law and that whole Eric. But like I just think he'll just wear down the West Ham defense so much. And like I'm not in a disrespectful manner, Dan. I genuinely don't actually know who plays CB for you guys in your three. I presume it's Issa Diop and 2 others.
Diop had coronavirus. Yeah,
Balbuena, innit?
Ogbonna, Creswell, and Balbuena. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. Ogbonna, I'm gonna have to forget he's Nigerian for the weekend. But you know, like I think Lamella can wear them lot down. I just hate to be a centre back knackered from Lamella being up my arse all game, and you turn and you just see the man. You see the Don Dada on the side, prepping the top, prepping the man bun, and just preparing himself. I think he's gonna get minimum half an hour. I think minimum half an hour, depending on how the game's actually going. If it's looking sticky first half, he'll just come on half time quickly.
Yeah, no, I definitely see us mixing it up a little bit. I don't think we'll see the same team from Manchester United. I think it's a different test. And what we're seeing from Mourinho is on a game by game basis, he's addressing the opposition's potency and counterbalancing it with the shit that we're good at, and that's what you want from a manager at the end of the day. So last thing on this, what would we say are the predictions? We'll start with you, Dan.
Do you know what? So from the West Ham team, obviously, that have scored, 7 goals in the last 2 games, conceding 0. You've got deadly attack. I'm gonna say this is a 3-2 West Ham. I'm gonna say 3-2 West Ham. This is gonna be a high scoring game. Listen, I'm telling you, like, as well. I don't know how you guys are at defending set pieces, but we have Ogbonna, Souček, Antonio, all there that can just head that ball in, that are going to be dangerous for us. So even set pieces, like, I'm telling you, we'll score some goals in this game. I'm going 3-2. I think we'll edge it. I think it might be later on that you guys, when we're a bit more tired, that you guys maybe try and bang some goals in. But I think we can.
You think you'll be 3-0 up?
No, I'm not saying 3-0 up. I think it will be one of them things. I think, like, we might score, say, a couple, like, mid-game or whatever. You might get one in, but I think, like, the comeback will be later on. I think that's what I'm gonna. Or you catch us out early before we get there. Sometimes it does take us about 10 minutes to get going before we get warmed into the game. So you could catch us out early.
I feel like I'm in dream therapy. He's like recalling a positive dream that he had, like, in the morning or whatever, on his little cat nap.
Nah.
3-2 West Ham. That's amazing. I love the positivity.
How many times have you gone in, and gone like, West Ham, this is gonna be easy, we're gonna smash them, and then you've come out like just so depressed? Like,
I think that's every time we get our hopes up against any team, to be honest.
There was this notorious in West Ham, but there's these 2 brothers, they're Spurs fans, they've got a channel, and they did a vlog when you guys came to, that's it. They did a vlog when they came to our ground that season, and they before the vlog, they're like, we're gonna smash them like 3-0 or something, and then they see the lineup and they're reading the lineup like, Noble, Lanzini, probably about 4-0 now, and then that's when, like, Lanzini scored, I think it was 1-0, and they're just like nearly in tears, and I was like, it's the most beautiful thing you will ever see. And then that Ben Spurs guy, he was like, Lanzini. It was just like, I'm hoping, I want to come and see the podcast. I want to see all of you guys after that. And
just so you know, I'm unbearable when we win. So, like, make sure you keep your end of the bargain. How are we feeling, lads? Tops, how do you see this panning out?
Yeah, man, I'm positive, man. Like, it was a very, very good performance last game. Touch wood, injury free. Most of the guys that went international, like Højbjerg, played very well. A lot of the lads that have been left back, Ndombele, Sissoko, Lucas, they'll be raring to go. So I think it'll be a difficult one. Like, I don't think it'll be easy. I think West Ham know the situation when it comes to playing Spurs. They'll get themselves up for it, and they will probably sit in and allow us to come onto them. Like, as been said, like, Antonio is a P&P merchant, man. That's the ambassador of P&P, man. And I just know he's going to give Sanchez a rough time. And just like I said, it's mad. I can think of many guys that have given Sanchez a rough time. And it's always P&P dons as well. Like, it's like Igalo, Callum Wilson, Troy Deeney. So it's going to be a big old game for him because Antonio's on a good run. But I think we have enough quality, and I think the team is riding a very positive wave of confidence. I mean, considering how well we played against United, international break came, and we've still got Bale to come in. I mean, I'm positive, man. Like, for me, I think it has to be a Spurs win. I think there will be goals. I think I think we win 3-1. Probably a Kane brace, Son as well. And I think I would like to see Bell start, but I think if anything, he'll get definitely like minimum half an hour, maybe towards the second half, just to like, tie him in really. But yeah, I think 3-1 Spurs.
Owen, how are you feeling going into this?
I think it'll be a high scoring game as well. I think Dan made a good point about them being such a threat on set pieces, and obviously as well as a PMP match, and Antonio is generally very, very good at finishing. Do you know what? In honor of your birthday as well, Tops, I was going to say a win, but I'll say a 3-2 win. We'll get the big 3-2 out. And hopefully, so yeah, I think it will be a fearful one for us, though. We might even end up conceding an early lead to them, but I think we'll win it late on 3-2.
I think it's going to be a tough match for us, but I think we're going to come out on top. I agree with everything everyone said. I agree what Dan said about the hype factor, but I think Dan also needs to remember that we did play West Ham a couple months back, and we did cope with Antonio well. We did cope with him well that game. We did cope with the hype factor that game as well, because Souček and Rice both played that match as well, and we won that 2-0 and defended to a reasonable standard. So I think even with their form this season, I'm backing us to win 3-1. I don't think we're going to keep a clean sheet, but our shooters are going to blast that makeshift defense with a shit left back playing centre back out of the water. What? Pressure burst pipes. Pressure burst pipes.
You know what? The Mourinho slander's over. Then it's done. Is that it?
No. Don't do that.
No, it's waiting in the wings, Dan. It's waiting in the wings.
Toby's been praising him for the past 4 weeks or so as well. So it's kind of like that situation where you've got a stepdad come into your life and you're still like, oh, okay, I still don't know about you. I'm not going to call you daddy yet.
He's bought you a PS5 and you're like warming to it.
No, you know it is. The squad's getting better, and as I said, if I criticize him when he's doing badly, I have to give him credit when he's doing well. So I'm still not sold. I still need to see more. Can you maintain this type of approach to matches over the course of the season? And can you get the best out of our attacking players? Because traditionally over the past couple of years, we've not seen that from him. That's why I don't rate him.
But with you're so confident though, you must have some faith in him, because think about it, you've seen you guys slip up and have some bad results like to teams that you think you're gonna beat. But you're so confident. Who's giving you that confidence?
But Dan, do you know what's different? It's that like finally, nobody can tell me that we haven't had all these huge gaps in the team, in the squad that needed filling. And finally, we actually have a squad where there's one competition in the team, 2 players that are upgrades on the previous players, and 3 increased amount of quality in the team as well. So there's lots of reasons to give people confidence. Like you have players who weren't playing very well last season, suddenly now, looking like new signings. You've got players who we needed to just give a bit of confidence, start playing well. And we got players like Sai has said previously, we no longer have, pegs in like round holes. We have players who are supposed to be in the positions they're supposed to be in and playing comfortably in those roles. So based on the start we've had, bar the loss against Everton, it's been very confident, and people have reason to feel like the confidence is like, and the morale especially is like positive through the team. And obviously 6-1 against Man United at OT is any reason to believe that this team can go on and push on. But I think we should take it game by game. And like I said as well previously, it's good that Mourinho seems to be approaching each game based on what the team that we are playing has their strengths, and also making sure that we can counteract that team with the right amount of or the right tactics, or the right style of play, or the right type of player. Like just like last game, I've always said historically, I hate Sissoko in midfield. I don't think there's a role that he can play in midfield, because I just don't think technically he's good enough. But the last game, I mean, he was the perfect foil for that midfield against Man United. So, times like that, you have to give him props. You have to praise him. But again, like Tobe said, it's still very early. Like he's still trying to get his imprint on the team, and he's had his signings now. So it's a matter of time before we see whether this is the Mourinho that we know or this is a new Mourinho.
Exactly. And I think one point which Si mentioned as well, in addition to the way in which he's playing players that can sort of counteract the threat that the team has, the most important factor that I'm seeing from this team now, I've seen over the past couple of games, is we are finally imposing our style on teams. Like, we are taking the game to the opposition. We did that against Newcastle, did that against Man United, and we're playing on the front foot. We don't see this type of performance under Jose Mourinho, which is why it's a breath of fresh air. And which is why we want it to continue. Let it continue. Do it over a season. Give me a reason to change my mind, because right now my mind is unchanged.
No, you love him really, man. Get out of here.
Nah,
Maya, what's your prediction for the game, bro?
I think just quickly, I think this game is, for me, like, I know 6 goals, like you said, top 6 goals at OT, like, it's nuts, but United are shit, and they were down.
Call a spade, bro.
I mean, like, we were good. I enjoyed watching us thoroughly, but they were gash. Okay, so I think personally, I think beating West Ham would be more telling of our progression than slapping up United personally. So beating West Ham, and then if we have a European hangover after Lask, is it? I think.
Yeah, it's Lask. Yeah.
So the games either side of the last game will be more telling for me than United one personally, but. You know the vibes. Giraffe ting, 3-1, Bale, 93rd minute, because why not?
Yeah, I see us slapping you 3-0, to be honest.
3-0.
Yeah, you're not ready. You're not ready.
Nah, they're gonna score. You're
gonna have to eat that, Dan. You're gonna have to eat that, bro.
I'm telling you.
We'll read a listener question. I don't know if any of you guys want to do the readings. That's usually Ohio's bag.
No, guys, by the way, I have time. If we win, I have time to be coming back to this, clipping things up. I have time. I just
might do a little live or something. That could be good.
All right, cool. Yeah, let's run some listeners still. I'm gonna start on a weird one. Like, I don't really understand like this culture sign. I might have to skip a word out so I don't offend anyone, but this is from @Irons Opinions. He said, "Where do my Spurs mates get this upper class mentality from when talking about us? Very bad word for travellers. When Tottenham is just as big of a shithole," which is a lie. Does this attitude mirror how they see themselves as a club, thinking they're bigger than they are? I don't really know what this question's about. Can someone fill me in? I genuinely don't have a clue.
I think he means that why are Spurs fans so uppity and so quick to look down on West Ham fans when Tottenham as a location is a shithole? That's what.
Yeah, because you guys have always called us the P word, right?
Yeah.
Imagining like, okay, so we're some
Scum.
You know, yeah, like scum, lower than you, beneath you, and you're like, oh look, we're from Tottenham. You know, look at us. This is high society over here. It's like where does that mentality come from, and does that mentality feed into how you guys see yourself as a club? So you see yourself as being high society in life, and you see yourself being like high society in. So they're saying like, really, you think Tottenham's all that, but it's a shithole, and you think your club's all that, but you know, that's what he's trying to say. Where does that mindset come from?
That really well. I think it was your burner account that you tweeted at.
You seem way too prepared for that question, bro.
Yeah, I did see it earlier, to be fair, and I was like, I liked it.
Like, yeah,
I clicked like on that one.
Fair.
I don't see you guys as like lesser on a human level. But as a football club, you lot of shit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like Spurs. It's not like we think, well, yeah, you lot are just crap. You're just shit. Like, and the thing is, you're not only shit, but like the fact that you literally G yourselves up every single time you play us out your skin means that you respect us. You're like, we have to be on our A game when we're playing Spurs.
That's it.
Yeah, but you guys do that against Arsenal, even though they finished below you. You know, for the past few years. We understand a derby. We respect a derby. That's what I'm saying. And listen,
oh yeah, you respect a derby, yeah. All them times you're getting slapped up by Chelsea, Arsenal. Respect a derby. All right, cool.
Arsenal were the jammiest club you'll ever see. They're so like, how many times have we played them and we should beat them and they do that?
Twice, and you lot keep bottling it. You should have beaten them this season and last season as well.
Last season, it's true. Yeah, it's true.
That's not even counting the years before that, you know, New Boxing Day and that, when Alex Song's goal was ruled out and ended up going on and winning. Yeah, but all I was saying, I just want to respond to Toby. Like, you can say, yeah, West Ham are shit and we're this. Again, silverware. Like, you win every season, you will win the same as us. You're going to win the same as us this season, the same as you did last season.
Nah,
that's
we're winning
all
the
that matters.
Watch.
You can...
All right, bro. Let's just hold this call in there. We'll wait.
That's going in the bank. That's going in the clip.
Cool. I got one from Dave, who is at Skev303. He says he's interested on our take on the big picture proposals. Also, do we wake up in the night with visions of Ravel Morrison tearing us a new one? Dave, that was good.
That was a good one.
Just on big picture, like, I've read bits of it. I know the initial proposal got rejected. What I do like is the potential of, you know, slightly less games, player welfare, etc. The EFL thing, I'm not going to lie, I use that to blood my FM youngsters, so I kind of need that still. But yeah, I think the essence of it was to sort of like be able to send parachute payments down to all the way down to League Two and ensure that nobody goes out of business from COVID, which, if that was meant to be the main thing, fair play. I didn't really like the whole, the 9 longest Premier League, 9 longest clubs had more of a say in voting than the other clubs. I personally don't like that. Like, I understand it, but I don't like it only because rugby have something similar. I think, you know, England, Ireland, France, Wales, I think they all have like 3 votes, whereas the likes of, you know, Fiji, Samoa, etc., only have 1 vote. And I'm just not a fan of that particular bit personally. I know the initial thing got rejected, but yeah, that's just my general take. I mean, some parts of it are good, some parts of it are a little bit elitist for me personally.
Massively elitist, I think. But I did like a couple of things they had in the proposal. Like, I liked the abolishing of the... In fact, no, I disliked that part. I liked the fact that they were going to cut down the teams from 20 to 18. I think that will make the league a lot more competitive, and that will also increase the quality standard in our league, because there have been times over the years where we've been guilty of having some teams that are just not Premier League sides that are in this league. So I like that part, but I dislike the whole sort of getting rid of the League Cup, because I feel like the League Cup is a really good opportunity to blood a lot of youngsters as well. I know obviously that's a big club mentality to have, but it's just the way it is. Like, you've seen even big, small, medium clubs, you've seen some younger players play in that competition and go on to be mainstays in the personal team. Dan's laughing, but I mean, Declan Rice made his debut. I think was it his debut? I can't remember, but he played against us in the League Cup a couple of years back. They won that game 3-2.
I'm laughing because that's the trophy that you said you're going to win this season. Of course, you'll be sticking up for it.
Yeah, he went on to be ever present for West Ham. So, like, I didn't like that.
I agree, yeah.
I didn't like that fact as well. And I, like you said, I think the elitist, it's just got elitist vibes all over it. Oh, we're better and bigger than you, so we get to dictate what you do. I don't really like that.
Yeah, nice. You've kind of answered this one already from our boy Dan at The Lawless. He says, has anyone... Well, actually, no, sorry. This was originally from Adam Brown, 93, sorry. And reinforced by at The Lawless. Have they grown to like Mourinho? Now it looks like the Spurs squad has adapted to his methods. I'm just going to leave that one to Toby.
I've answered already.
I know you've answered.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
sure I see 2 banners back there. He's got the preemptive get Jose out, and then he's Jose's my daddy one as well.
I see Owen smiling there. The twinkle in his eye.
As I said, when he gives me a reason to change my opinion, I will change my opinion. For now, I'll give him credit where he's doing well and see how it goes.
Nice one. And then I got one personally from me. It was years and years and years ago, but what was the general feel of the West Ham fan base when you signed Carlos Tevez and Javier Mascherano? Because from an outside perspective, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, how is this happening? And obviously, like, it took them a while to get going, and then Tevez did what Tevez does at Old Trafford. I thought that was unbelievable personally. I'm genuinely intrigued. Like, what was it like as a fan base when the rumor started? Then you saw them, man, at, like, with the scarves and that and their bootcut jeans, and then Tevez saved you from relegation. Like, can you just talk me through that period?
It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy because, I mean, like, going into it, you know, you obviously hear the rumors, and we've been linked with some like insane, like the amazing elite players that they would just get linked with just because. So you think that's going to be the situation, and then we're going to sign them, and then the way we're going to sign them keeps changing, and obviously we hear it's this third party thing, and I don't know if that's ever happened before in football or in the Premier League or at this level. So none of us understood what this meant, like the whole link with Jorbichan. We just thought it was a broker, but we was just like, I don't know how it's happened, but we have signed like 2 elite level players. So we was buzzing. And then, like you said, it took them long to get going. And we was just like, what's going on? Like, we was expecting big things out the gate. So him and Mascherano were just like, they took so long. And we're like, oh my God, trust us to finally, we pull this off. And they're crap, like typical West Ham. And then they get going, and then they're just brilliant. And then we're sticking that feeling like, oh, I don't think we can keep hold of this guy. But not only do we not keep hold of him, we get sued by Sheffield United, because what we did was actually against the rules. It was like illegal or something, because you can't, like, we didn't own these players. Like, this other guy owned the players. And it was just baffling. And it was just like classic West Ham. Like, we can never even just have a good thing and have it good thing going along. You enjoy it, and then you find out, oh, yeah, it weren't real after all. So buzzing at the time. In the end, it just, everything turned to ash. But at least we have to say we had Tevez, and again, he kept us up, even though it did cost us like 25 mil.
Yeah, it's safe to say that a lot of things with West Ham ends up with your bubble being burst.
Love it.
That joke for the day. That about wraps it up, to be fair, unless anyone's got anything to add.
I just want to take Dan back, because obviously, like, we appreciate you like putting up behind enemy lines. It's like when John Cena had that 6-on-1 against the Spirit Squad back in the day. Like, I respect it.
Yeah, came out on top.
You know what I mean? Like, as I have to say, like, you know, an op is an op. You know what I'm saying? So I need you, before you go to bed, I need you to just take yourself back to 2006 FA Cup final, and you know when you saw Gerrard slap it half volley 30 yards. Just remember that before you go to sleep. That's all.
You know what?
Wow.
Yeah, well, listen, you guys ain't got to go too far back in the past to get your heartbreak, obviously, against Liverpool again. Didn't even turn up at a Champions League final.
Goodness
Didn't
sake.
even take them all the way. You get that far and just don't even turn up. That's a sad day, you know. So that's all I'm gonna say. And I will leave this on you. Of course, you guys have had more fortunate times than us in recent years, but when you have clown ownership after clown ownership after clown ownership, yeah, and you still are in a situation where you can say, well, we've pretty much won the same as Spurs in recent history. Like, we've had our arms tied behind our back, and we still managed to somehow beat you when we need to beat you, and still you haven't won more than us in recent memory. So you guys have had fairly decent ownership. Whatever you want to say about Levy, you know, it is what it is. So I'm just saying, we're handicapped. We're very handicapped with our ownership, and if we can ever get good owners, things might change.
I hope it never happens. I hope you're shit forever. But no, in all seriousness, it's been a pleasure having you on. I've enjoyed it. Hope you've found us hospitable enough, and we hope to have you back at some point when you lose.
We'll see. No, I enjoyed it. It was a good laugh, good banter, and all of that. Like, thanks for having me on, guys. And just know, if we win, a lot of clips are coming out of this show. That's all I'm saying. You guys will go viral. That's all I'm gonna say.
Cool. Pleasure, lads.